All right.
That stop.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Discussing Tabletop. It is, of course, April 25th. I actually had to check the date on my computer because I was like, it's April, but what day is it? That happens.
That's
Look,
fair.
it was a Saturday.
I only know what day it is because I got paid yesterday, and I had to look at my deposit.
Like you give me a day of the week, and generally speaking, like most of the time, I can tell what day of the week it is. Just make it like normal schedule, but like actual date, not always.
I can tell you,
everything to me is it a Monday, a Tuesday, or like a Thursday? No numbers matter.
Yeah, since I write the date a lot, I can generally know, but I also always second guess myself because I'm usually just like, was the 24th today or tomorrow or yesterday? I'm usually like off by like a day in my brain, and my brain just kind of blends that together. So I'm like, but after that, I'm usually fine. Like I'm usually can get it within a day.
Well, it's the same thing for like the year. It's like I've reached the point in the year where I'm pretty good at putting down 26, but I still have like 3 more months of second guessing myself. Is like, is that actually the year we are?
Mm-hmm. Thankfully, working in an accounting job where I actually have to write dates all the time, I get used to writing 2026 within like 2 weeks.
Like, I understand you have to at that point.
We don't often put the year on our things because our things go bad within a week, so there's no point to.
That makes sense.
I mean, I technically put it in
unless it's a freezer item, then it gets 6 months.
Because every VOD I save, I put the date on. Technically, it's just like one of these things of like I have the information right in front of me, so I'm just copy and pasting rather than trying to think about it.
Yeah, I for my VODs, I also date them. I date them. By the way, I'm curious how you date them because I always date them year, month, day because I just find that it actually goes in order.
Oh, that would be probably a good idea. I do month, year, day. So
it takes a little bit of brain work for you to learn to parse it again because you get so used to the day, month, year, or month, day, year. Sorry. Honestly, I'm someone who thinks that like, yeah, the American way is stupid, but it is probably the stupidest one. But I also writing dates. But I also feel like the European way of day, month, year is also stupid because you really should just go year, month, day.
That's
that way it's in order of biggest to smallest.
Yeah. I don't know. It definitely is like a thought pattern. A lot of these things. It's like I guess it's just a matter of. It's the problem that like I think there's a degree of personal preference in like how people process things. So it's easier in some people. It's probably really easy for any of those countries to be that way, and other people for not. So it's kind of like one of those weird things of like,
as someone who has dated a German for the last, I think it's 11 years this year, I have basically swapped entirely over to 24-hour time and writing dates that way. And that is, sometimes I have to stop myself at work because I work with a bunch of Americans and they're not going to know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. The date thing is really annoying because basically you get any single digit day and, you know, it's confusing. It's always funny when like you're like reading something and like someone mentions a date and you're like, something about that feels wrong because they were talking about that it was cold, but then they put 12. Oh, this person who wrote it is probably European.
Well, it's like, yeah, you think about like especially sort of like it sometimes like I'm in the middle of like of our summer here in the US and I'm like thinking about it and someone like in Australia's talking about how cold it is and it's sort of like, oh yes, it's winter over there, or something like that, different areas of the world.
Okay, backwards of that anyway, but
I understood what you were saying, even though you were definitely backwards.
And it says 12, but then you realize it's like 8:12, and you're like, or 12:8 or whatever. You're like,
I understood what you were saying, and that was all that matters. Sometimes understanding each other. Anyway, how are folks this week? I can kind of say that mine was this weird, unfortunate up and down. Because if you miss any of my streams, I've been horrifically stressed out as I've been trying to take care of some bureaucratic stuff with the state. And, it's been a game of tag with people that I need to talk to a lot. So, it's a mess. Yeah.
Understandable.
But theoretically, things are taken care of. Theoretically, it's that entire thing of now I have to wait and see if they have to get back to me again, and we have to resume the tag of I have to recontact them and maybe get them more information or something else or all that kind of shit. Yeah, and they keep trying to like call me at 8 in the morning when I'm not even awake. When no one's awake in the household. But that's been a lot of my week. It's just like stress.
8 in the morning Eastern time.
Yeah.
I'm well awake at that point.
I actually am usually still asleep at that point.
My wake up time is usually 6 a.m.
That'd be 5 a.m. for me, and my wake up time is 6. So
5 is a little early to be awake.
Well, you know,
I'm just saying 8 a.m. your time would be.
I am certainly focused more afternoon, evening for a lot of things I do, so I tend to wake up around 9, actually, which isn't much later than that, but it's just sort of like, it's that entire thing of like, it's close to when I wake up, but just not quite there, which was kind of the, I guess the most annoying part about it. Bureaucracy. But yeah, that was a lot of my week, and then just tried to maintain a level of sanity after that. And did it work? I don't know. Though I will report one thing. If people notice that we missed Wednesday, Joe was disposed of by some medical stuff. He's feeling better-ish.
That's good that he's better.
You know, he's resting at home at the moment. We'll say it that way. He wants to talk about it more. He can, but he is recovered from. We're gonna have to ask him what everything was. We was talking with Worm yesterday. We have to find out everything that happened because he did give a lot of details.
Yeah, he didn't elaborate.
Yeah, so we'll have to find some stuff out. See how he's really doing. But yeah, how did you two's week go? Did you folks?
I worked most of the week, like always, but it's been a pleasant enough time playing gotcha games. Started playing Pragmata, cute as shit, goddamn. That robot child is awesome.
I got caught up on work finally from when my coworker went on vacation in the end of March.
At least you managed to get caught up, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I usually do. To be fair, I also took 2 days vacation the following week, so that didn't help. And then I had horrible pain and took a day off the week after that. So it's been a crazy couple weeks.
Yeah, it sounds like it's been a bunch of things that just it's just been a bit of a nasty combo, I guess the way to say it. So that sounds a lot of what is going on in this past week. A lot of interesting things and stuff like that. So why don't we dive into some topics and some news and stuff here too?
Sure.
I got a lot of little RPG news here. I was originally going to not to put something else as the big news topic for it, but there's enough little D&D things we can throw together that I'm just like, we're just having big D&D things for that. But so for now, though, I can announce that we talked about a little bit because we had an announcement for it, but the Star Trek Adventures Species Guide, the 2nd edition one, is officially out now. You get the PDF at very least. I don't know if you can get the physical book yet, but you can get the PDF at very least, it looks like. I don't remember what order Modiphius puts things out in. If they wrote the physical one might have been on pre-order at this point in time.
Yeah,
you know?
Probably.
But at very least now, if you want to get the PDF of it, you can. And the other...
I mean, the way a lot of people do it is they release the book and the PDF at the same time, but if you want the book, you have to like pre-order it, and then you get it usually when stuff comes out. But then if, otherwise you have to wait for them to get more.
So, unfortunately...
chunk goes to the people who pre-ordered.
At very least, the physical version of this is out of stock, because also by Modiphius, the new Vegas setting book came out.
That makes sense.
It is actually out of stock already.
Yeah, no, these two are very popular.
Yeah. So,
well, if you want to play the one-off dude that was in the background of the Star Trek shot, you can now.
Yeah. So,
Just a human with something weird on their face.
Yeah, that's very Star Trek.
To be fair, the Star Trek Adventures had a ton of species already, and they updated their, to version 2 or whatever, and they probably did just, redo a lot of them to be a little to fit the new system, even if the new system wasn't that different.
I think it's also like there are a few other like random species that are. They did most of the core ones that I think you really want to do, and I think there are a few others that would be interesting to play outside of there. But also, like, I feel like with some of the newer stuff that has come out, sometimes some things are there. Like, they could definitely, like, reach... They've got 2 animated series now. I'm not going to lie. The advantages of some of those animated series is some of the more unusual aliens they can put in there very easily.
Yeah.
You know, so that gives you some more options there, too, in many ways.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the weird aliens in older generations, well, I mean, not even counting the original series that, like, where there were no weird aliens, but in the later, ones where they actually did do weird aliens sometimes, they always had, like, 2 shots with them in it. So it was like, it was always just this, like, you never saw them.
Too expensive to keep them on screen.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's like only a few that I would call like kind of weird from that time, from the original time period, but yeah, that have some staying power, but not a lot. Like I think that the main one, which they did eventually put stats for in Star Trek, the RPG, is the Hordo, the weird like rock monster that appeared in one episode. That apparently then. They figured out a way to have that thing join Starfleet. Good for it. They made peace with it. And it's a weird rock monster, but part of Starfleet. I know. So you can play a weird rock monster if you really wanted to.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised the New Vegas book sold out. It's New Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big one to be like that's expected.
People go crazy for New Vegas.
It tends to be the most popular in many ways, I think, of the Fallouts in most people's ideas, and now, especially in the mind with the latest series of the TV series, it's the perfect storm of getting it out right now, So yeah. So we've talked a little bit about this game over the last honestly long period of time. Symbaroum. It's 10 years old now, and they're putting an anniversary edition out.
That's
it's going to
fun.
be up on Kickstarter. Gonna start in May. They are kind of keeping certain things. An all-in-one core rulebook that will be basically combining. Okay, so they're basically taking the original 4 core books they had and rearranging them into 3 volumes that are a little bit more user-friendly, they're saying, because originally they had a core rules, advanced player's guide, game master guide, and monster codex. I'm guessing what they're going to do is kind of combine parts of the advanced players with the normal core rulebook and other parts of it with the game masters that they kind of have the monster all on its own, just to make things a little bit smoother. So you don't need 3 books instead of 4. It sounds like arranged in 3 volumes, but Kickstarter project will be soon. It's a game that I think we've mentioned a few times over the years, and
It's come up.
Yeah, dark fantasy, I think is the best way to describe it. I believe that's the right one, if I'm
That
remembering.
sounds about correct.
Yeah.
Dragon's Bane?
Symbaroum.
Why did I click on something and it took me to Dragon's Bane? What's going on? Oh,
Yeah, Dark and Gritty World, released in Sweden originally in 2014. Then we get the 2016 version of it. Yeah. So yeah. Again, like they say, dark, gritty kind of fantasy. I'm not sure how dark it is. It could be that kind of like it's grungy fantasy rather than like depressing fantasy. I guess those are differences when they call it dark.
Mm-hmm.
Dark's not a very good descriptor, I think.
No,
for these.
dark fantasy is too wide of a net.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is just something. This is what confused me. When you click on any like image in this, it takes you to the Trudvang Dragon's Bane Kickstarter. Like, is that related?
That's weird. I think that's just a mistake on their
Website's
images.
issue, yeah.
Yeah. Because the Follow the
So it's
Project
like-
here at least takes you to the sitting room for the Kickstarter.
Yeah. That one is correct. You're right. That was that's so weird. Yeah, because I was like, why does all the images take you to Dragon's Bane?
I'm going to guess they probably use a standard template for their news things.
Most likely.
And
I can tell you they do use a standard template because it's freaking Mailchimp, which is a standard template email blast website.
mhm.
So
Makes sense then.
You-
So they
yeah,
just
you can
this is-
literally just say you can literally just say copy this template and like retype stuff. So
and they just happen.
I use Mailchimp sometimes for my work, so that's what I know about it.
So they at least change the images, but not the links on the images. So yeah, there we
Yeah,
go.
basically.
But yeah. So if you're interested in the anniversary edition, you might want to try getting into this and seeing about it. You can check it out. Starting it, we might talk about it when it comes out in the Kickstarter. Maybe we'll see.
Probably.
I guess a good chance, unless it's a very very busy news week. So this is very interesting,
Also true.
and
I
apparently
love finding weird little mistakes like that. I don't know. It's fun.
Daggerheart's next campaign is going to be done through charity donations.
That's cool.
Whether they're determining what it's going to be.
Okay.
It's the next campaign story is going to be determined through those donations.
For a second, I thought you were saying the next section was going to be funded purely through donations, and I'm like, don't they sell things for that reason?
No, it is supposed to be charity at very least that you're putting money
Yeah.
towards there too. So.
No, they're using like charity as a voting system for what is gonna be next. That makes sense.
And so Realms of Valor supports Gold Star Games, which proceeds to help children who lost a military parent through gaming. I mean, it's nice, but it is also like hey, your parents dead. Here, have some games to help get your mind off of it.
Yeah, anything
It's
that
good,
helps
but
the
again,
kids,
like it's that thing
quite
of like
frankly.
it's the exact same things with kids for games for kids in like the hospital. I'm like, it's really nice too to distract them from the horrific things, but
Kids
it's sort of like
deserve nice things.
So here's the thing.
part of me is also
like-
is I don't know if there's a better way to help these people. That's the
Yeah,
problem. You know?
I
mean, money.
So here's the thing. It is a way because they can make deals with like gaming companies. It's a way to like
Mhm.
get products to these children.
Mm.
That otherwise, and here's the thing: when a family member dies, usually what happens is money becomes a problem.
Mhm.
And
Makes sense.
that's why giving free games to these kids is a charity because kids like games. So it's not as bad as it sounds. And like same thing with kids in a hospital. Their parents are spending a ton of money, especially in America, on like these kids' health.
Yeah.
And so can't necessarily buy them fun things, and so it helps. Like I get it. I get why it's a thing. It's just
And
yeah.
and fun things can be a thing to help you deal with issues,
Yes.
stress from traumatic things, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
or
and
grief.
games can games can honestly be a type of therapy. They can be an escape. They can
Mhm.
help.
Find a
No,
channel
so-
your things there. Okay, again, it's just this weird thing about it's something that I've been thinking about a little bit more because of like this is another version of something that we
Mhm.
do have these charities for. It just is like
Yep.
it's this weird thing in my brain that I needed to codify a little bit.
I'm gonna be honest. I think part of me knows kind of how this feels because I spent 2 weeks in the hospital when I was 18 because I broke my neck. And my parents brought my Xbox in, and there was like a TV that they could hook it up to, and man, that was a lifesaver.
Oh yeah, when I was in the hospital for an extended period of time, I didn't have shit to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like they're going to be having Chris Perkins run a lot of the
Yay,
campaign that's going to be
everyone
going
likes
on.
that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he's working with Daggerheart now. They can obviously
Yeah.
get him.
it's going to be on the Gold Star Gamers Twitch and YouTube, and you basically can donate during or between sessions to have various effects on the kind of campaign that they're going to be playing through here. And they have a list of a bunch of people.
Okay, so I'm kind of curious how this is gonna work. Specifically for their next campaign, like book, they're gonna be putting out. So
yeah. I'm guessing the session
I s-
will kind of be like a testing ground for when you pay for
Probably a
stuff during the
teaser.
sessions. And basically, the kind of effects you're going to have will basically help them build a story. So it's sort of like
Yeah.
you can donate
Yeah,
to
I
have
assume
this
it's gonna be
twist, and then that twist will kind of have an effect on the world or something like that, maybe there too.
Yeah. And I assume this is going to be Chris Perkins running a game where people can pay to make different things happen,
Yeah.
and that's going to affect things. That's what I'm assuming.
Crowd control for D&D.
It's crowd control for
Yep.
D&D, and most likely then they'll bring it to
Yeah.
very
And then
extensively.
they'll
Someone
go
who
around and
can
refine.
someone who can polish it up into an actual coherent narrative.
So it's an interesting way of doing things.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole thing like, I've heard when it's like when you're running a game, you can. It's a lot easier to run a game than to write a campaign or write a campaign book, because you have to think about so much more and have so much more concretely written down in detail, but still be loose enough to like still work for any group. So it's like So I can see how they could take something and then adapt it later.
It's a very, very cool idea. We'll see if I'll actually even be able to catch any
Fans
of
can
these
donate
live.
during and between session to unlock Daggerheart NPCs, items, twists, and campaign finale. So
So it's interesting.
So that's exactly
Very
how
fun.
they're doing it.
Yeah. Very interesting idea. So, we got a little bit more information on tech core for Starfinder. Is this book going to have starships? I don't know. Maybe. They don't
Got a
say here.
Technomancer
Finally,
at
they
least.
revealed this one.
Yeah.
They hinted at it in their GM core. This is the one. No, this is the one that's going to have starships and starship combat and starship building.
So, we're finally getting it in October. We're also getting the mechanic and Technomancer. I'm not sure the mechanic is old, but I know the Technomancer was in first edition. I remember that one at very least. The mechanic also might be either something that's a version of first edition or something new that kind of does some things. I can't remember. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember all the classes from first edition Starfinder.
Yeah.
they have
I've
different
never played
names.
Starfinder.
I dove into it a
no.
little
So
bit
in-
and only played a little bit of it, so that's why it's sort of like not in my mind as much.
I believe
I
we
mean, I
floated the idea, and then everyone that it was floated to collectively said these character building rules suck.
They were a mess.
Character building rules?
For the first edition stuff had a little bit of problems in them, I think. I don't know if I was involved in that one. I remember we talked about it. I think I couldn't join that one when you guys talked about that one, because I always talked about it.
If I remember correctly, you had to pick between like 3 number sets, and they were all kind of sucky. Because Pathfinder, even though Starfinder is a little different, it's still a Pathfinder variant, and you get punished pretty hard for having shitty stats.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, it's based more off 1E. It's kind of is the halfway point between 1E and Pathfinder 1E and 2E was Starfinder 1E.
Starfinder's got a lot of problems. They 1E. I hope they fix a lot of it in 2E.
I think Starfinder 2E is just Pathfinder 2E in a lot of ways.
Which means there's a 50-50 chance I don't enjoy it.
I just looked it up to double check, and yes, so in the GM core for Starfinder 2E, it reads, expanded starship encounters rules, including having an upgradable party starship and rules for more extensive tactical combat, are detailed in Starfinder Tech core. They obviously don't, so it's like they write it as if it already exists, but future-proofing a bit, I get it, but still.
This is good to have. I mean, it's one of those things that was a major part of Starfinder 1E was the ships and stuff.
Yeah. I'm hoping they can, because I actually think Starfinder had one of the better group space combat rules. I mean, I think part of what made it good, I think we talked about this literally in a few things ago, or it's a few sessions ago. Where it's like, where it's just like, because of the fact that they have, well, it's a mixture of two things. One, they have decent rules that include a bunch of different a bunch of different skills, and 2, because they have a select number of skills, everyone is likely to be able to participate.
So, so Tech Core's coming out. So expect that. And then we have one more Pathfinder thing, PISA thing. This is an interesting one. We've talked about it for things that sometimes we're getting new books, and other times we're getting full remasters. Hey, we're getting a new, just a remaster. The Dark Archive book, which is from 2022. Just getting a remastered edition of it, so it's just updated to remaster rules. Yeah. I think
stuff.
I think this was close enough.
What do you mean it's getting a remaster? It's already been remastered.
Yeah, it's already out, brother.
Did I miss just the date for this and mix it up when I
Yes.
saw something here? When did this get available?
It's been available for a little bit, I think.
Let me find out.
Literally.
Are you
So,
okay?
if you're wondering, it's now available again. They actually
Yes,
a lot more
it's been
people ordered the
brought
Dark
back.
Archives book. If a lot more
Ah.
people ordered the Dark Archives book,
Okay.
pre-ordered it than they kind of expected.
I'm
And
not
so
that
when-
far off
It
anyway.
took me 2 months to get this.
Yeah,
so
because
So,
the
we haven't
special
talked about
edition
it,
sold
and it's
out
not
really
so far
fast,
out. This
if I
was
remember right.
February it came out, so I am a little late, a couple months late,
Just by 2 months.
just by 2 months. But also, it's sort of like, I think it was because you didn't get it in and we didn't talk about it. Or maybe you mentioned it or something, but we didn't. So anyway, so yeah, it's available again. Okay,
It's a restock.
it's a restock, so now it actually is available. So it just so happens to be one that, like, I guess left my brain or like missed my brain from that time period.
I was like, "Are you high? What's going on?"
I'm not going to lie, it's sort of like, as I'm looking through various news things and sort of like stuff like that, I think it was really someone was talking about it being back in stock, but I'm like, I don't remember this at all because we didn't really talk
Because
about
I literally
it.
got that. I literally got that like a week and a half ago, and I mentioned it
Ah.
I think last week, but I
Ah.
didn't like bring it out because I'm like I talked about
Gotcha.
it already when I got the
see,
PDF.
and
So
you not bringing out, like, looking at like the images didn't like click in my brains. But okay, so you got finally, it's the remaster's out though now too, and it's just a remaster mode. So cool, right there. Hey, so now you can get it if you need one. We're getting a Cyberpunk book. That's Night City 2045. So
Yeah, I mean,
I don't.
it's what Cyberpunk Red was originally built to do. So
Yeah.
it's finally coming out.
Coming in June.
Very excited for it.
Yep. So it's definitely one of those things you have to keep in mind when you're playing Cyberpunk. They do have rules for doing, I think, 2077's kind of time period.
I believe those rules aren't fully done yet.
Okay. I knew they did some stuff on it, but it's sort of like it's 2 time periods that you have to play in. It's like so
There's technically
Actually,
three
there's
main
3.
ones.
Yeah.
There's 2020, which is pre-nuke.
Yeah.
2045, which is coming out, which is just after the nuke.
Yeah.
And then 2077, which is the video game.
what's the nuke?
Night City gets nuked off the map in one of the corporate wars.
Got it.
So they have to rebuild and stuff.
Specifically, I believe the nuke lands on Arasaka's headquarters. Because Arasaka sucks.
Would this be? I'm trying to
I'm gonna
remember
look up
the
when the
character's
nuke
name. The
happened.
character's name. It's goddamn Keanu's character. Is it Johnny Silverhands? Is it?
Johnny
Johnny
Silverhand.
Silverhand, yep.
Would this have been his time period where he was actually alive,
He would be.
or was he in between?
I'm gonna
the two
say
of them?
he would be dead because I don't want to spoil the video game for people who haven't played it.
Well, I mean, he shows up as kind of like a ghost in your arm in that
Right,
game
like-
from early on.
So
Like that's I know
guess
very
it's-
little
I
of the
guess
video
it's been
game's
long enough.
plot, but
So
I know he
would
shows up
be-
very early on as like this ghost in the machine in your head. Whether he's
Yeah,
actually
he-
alive or
he-
not,
he
I
would-
don't know.
I'll wave when we're done. I'll wave when we're done with spoilers. So
I think physically he would be dead in 2045 and put into the relic chip that you
Okay.
then get in 2077.
Okay.
Though the relic chip I think is made much later in the timeline.
Again, this is
He
stuff
becomes
that's like
an engram, which is like a AI brain upload. It's kind of weird and not well explained in the game.
but it's also like that's early on in the game from what I've been.
To be fair, that is the whole video game.
Yeah, it's stuff relating to getting him in your head, kind of thing like that. Is the
Like you
is
do the
plot.
heist to get the chip, and then the rest of the game is, oh no, I put this weird thing in my brain. I'm gonna die.
Yeah, so like the entire story of the game, not really spoiling anything of that. This is like it's weird and like
Are we done talking about things that might spoil people?
I mean, like I can't spoil people. I've never played it. This is stuff
yeah,
I've picked up from
we're
just
good. I'm not gonna bring
popular
up any
media.
spoilers.
So
Okay.
I guess we're done.
I know. I just wanted to like do something.
Just in case
Momo
there
was
is a
concerned, I
spoiler
figured it'd
there,
be good to
yeah.
do a little
Yeah,
thing.
because I do think 2077 is a very fun game, and it's still being given like DLC treatment. So
and there's a lot of story to tell there beyond the like first couple hours, you know. So I think that's the entire thing of like there's definitely like it's that kind of thing that sometimes it's hard to like talk about stories without like spoiling the first couple hours.
To put into perspective about cyberpunk lore, the reason why this book is good is because I currently pretty much cyberpunk lore like stops around 2025 and then picks up again in 2027. And there's nothing really in between. This is that nice middle stopgap to be like, here's how things are. They still suck. Morgan Blackhand is still an asshole.
It's different timelines you could play in, and I think that's pretty good too. It technically is kind of the same for like something like Shadowrun. I think you could probably do that. Yeah. You could probably do like different time periods for Shadowrun, at least for a lot of when the major books are. Like I could play a 6th edition game in the time period of 1st edition. You can definitely do that.
There's just some mechanics you couldn't use.
Yeah. And like certain products you have to kind of like look at like what kind of equipment was there that you would have had. You know, that's the only thing too, is like, you know, it's just little things like that. Not impossible, but could be done. Anyway, so yeah, Night City 2045.
The fun fact, the reason it's called Cyberpunk Red is because it's set during the time of the Red, which is where basically big nuclear winter and the sky was all red.
That's really interesting, actually. You know that. Cool.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we talk some random D&D stuff? And I want to start with the big one of what happened this week, and that's Villainous Options 2, or I like to say it, Villain-ish Options 2.
Yeah, I mean the subclasses look cool at least.
They look neat. None of them feel really that villainy.
That's I'm just gonna say that's kind of the problem with I'm just gonna say D&D as a whole, because even the evil stuff in 3.5 didn't feel that evil. D&D is not a game where you can really like portray playing evil because they've never done it properly.
Yeah.
In fact, I believe most of the time they just didn't really give examples on how to be evil until relatively recently.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not gonna lie. I remember seeing the Book of Vile Darkness from 3rd edition / 3.5. It was a book that it wasn't great at presenting that, you know, like it's not like really like it sure it had like a lot of big villainous things you could have in there to fight and like some pretty horrific monsters. Like it had its own versions of like, I can't remember what there has, but like 3.0, 3.5, it has its own version of like the aliens from like the movies. There were these like little horrific reptilian monstrosities that would like chest burst people and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's gross. That's kind of awful, you know. But yeah,
I think Book of Vile Darkness is also one of the ones that was like, here's a bajillion types of undead, and also we did some parallels to real life events that were kind of weird.
Yeah, I think that's also the one that has like
that's the one that has Fantasy 9/11 in it.
I don't know if that's the one that has that. It might be in there.
It is.
There's so much of that book that I just block out. It's like, I remember the stupidest things. I remember the weird, horrific insect, like lizard creatures, because they were kind of neat, but awful. And then I also remember that it's like they really leaned into some of the darker parts of like the demon and devil leaders of things there. So they had the two joint leaders of the one hell that are like the father and daughter, that they implied heavily relationships with them. You know, I'm like, great. You're diving deep into that one there.
Yeah, I'm less familiar with the Book of Vile Darkness and more familiar with the Book of Undead, which came out a little after, I think. Which is where they added all the fun undead monsters.
Yeah, that was a much better book, honestly. It had so much fun monsters.
I would love for them to do themed books like that.
That would be nice.
Like an undead
themed bestiaries.
Yeah, I mean they kind of did one for dragons, but it's like one for undead, one for magical creatures. I mean, Paizo basically is done this, but
yeah, I mean the Fizbin book also served as a jumping off point for them to do a Dragonlance adventure that then they didn't do anything more with.
Yep.
So unfortunately, Dragonlance is not a very interesting setting.
So I'll tell you.
honestly think it's very interesting. I don't.
Well, for like a role-playing game. As a book series, it's great.
As a book series is great, but I think no one has ever
That's a
really
good point.
captured it well in role playing. I think that's what it is.
It's like my same problem with Arcstone. It's like it's a very compelling setting. Sucks to play in.
Yeah, I think what the problem with Dragonlance in D&D is D&D has never been a good system to play Dragonlance because a lot of the way that Dragonlance works as a setting, and I think that's the problem there.
Yeah.
You'd have it's kind of like you have to find a different game to play Dragonlance.
It's the limitations of D&D.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's one of the points.
I'm trying to think about what that could be. I mean, to be fair, I've never tried to play Dragonlance in D&D, but I'm like trying to think about like what those limitations are.
I mean, like, I'm not saying you couldn't do traditional D&D adventures in Dragonlance, but a lot of what makes Dragonlance is like the Game of Thrones styles, political machinations, the entire thing that's going on with all the dragon-related stuff that's kind of insane, you know, and that stuff isn't always necessarily captured very well. Things like large battles and wars and stuff like that.
The poor social mechanics in D&D make it problematic.
Yeah.
Got it.
Poor social mechanics, basically... Probably I would say rulership mechanics aren't very good because that's a lot of things, and like probably a little bit of like army management things because there's a lot of like battles and armies and stuff too in Dragonlance. So
Dragonlance also used to have its own tabletop RPG.
Yeah. So, but to the villainous options at very least, I'll say there are 3 new options: Lamenting Barbarian, Venom Monk, and Primordial Patron Warlock. Lamenting Barbarian's just like a depressed barbarian who just channels sorrow.
He uses the power of grief and sorrow to beat people up.
Yeah, I mean that's
because that's evil. Being sad.
Depending on what kind of sad you are, it can be evil.
I mean, like they've got the Banshee Whale with the damage.
I think if you're sad and you use your sadness to punch a guy in the face, I think you're evil.
Yeah. Venom Monk, you're just using poisons.
So emo barbarian.
Emo barbarian. A monk who just uses poison. Where like I'm like
that can be pretty evil.
It can be.
Oh
evil,
man.
But
honestly, I literally said this would be really cool. Like yesterday when we were talking about this a little bit, I'm like, it'd be really cool to do like a Yuan-Ti monk and just build this into the character.
Yeah, I think this is what it is. It's not that these can't be villain options. It's just like they aren't just villain options. They're just options which...
They're villainous. They're slightly messed up if you're like a dude who just punches people with poison.
Yeah, if you're doing the punch poison, you use your depression as a deadly weapon, and you're dealing with the elemental evils. Which, I mean, like, I'm sorry, don't we already have people that, like, deals with devils and demons and, like, eldritch horrors? Don't we already have that in Warlock with patrons?
I wanna just... make a very cool little note here. Why did you make a poison monk when poison is the most resisted and immune damage type in 5e?
Because they hate monk. We know this already.
Like it's like, oh, you can change your poison damage to acid damage. Acid is the second or third most resisted and immune damage type in D&D.
Isn't it like poison and then like
poison, fire, acid? I think.
Yeah, and then you get to the others.
I don't see like it's cool flavor wise. I don't know why you would use this over the fact that your punches by default are force damage.
Yeah. I don't know.
At least the 3rd level ability. The 6th level ability is a little more interesting.
Yeah,
you can
charm
someone. Again, this also comes with the problem. Touch toxin is poisoned. Poison is the most fucking immune-based ability in the game.
Yeah, actually, you want to know what's interesting?
Yeah.
The slowing toxin. Okay, so like Venom, obviously, you take poison damage equal to 2 rolls of your martial arts die, but the slowing toxin doesn't mention poison anywhere. So if you do fight something immune to poison, you could just do that. Like mechanically, it doesn't mention poison, and it doesn't say creatures immune to the poison immunity aren't affected.
It's just so weird. Because the Venom is the one that it would be the issue.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like,
That's kind of like a big portion of this third
like,
level ability.
if it wasn't connected to the poison condition, I think Toxic Touch would be more interesting. But it's connected to the poison
Yes.
condition.
If you remove
Mhm.
the specific wording of poisoned, then it's fine, because poisoned is the most common condition immunity.
It could be
Mhm.
that the touch gives them the poison condition and one of these things, and maybe you're still immune to the poison condition, but you also get one of these things or something like that.
Rules unclear.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying that you could do that to like dislink them together, because right now it just says while poisoned, the target is affected by one of the following effects. And if you're immune to it,
Yeah.
I don't think you
I mean,
get it at all.
you're literally they have to fail the highest save among all monsters to be affected by the most resisted status condition of all monsters to have your effect
Just remove Monk from D&D, because that's what it feels like you want to do.
And as I said,
Again,
Just remove my favorite class.
I think this is a cool idea, but basically, if you want to ask your DM if there's going to be anything immune to poison beforehand.
If someone wants to play this, I would perhaps tack on, hey, you bypass poison immunity.
yes.
Yeah, actually, a lot of things focused around an element do that now.
Yes. Not
so
here.
Why don't you?
Because they hate them.
Yeah.
I would actually just straight up replace Potent Arsenal, because fucking you're never going to use Poisoner's Kit in your goddamn life. With you bypass poison immunity.
Yeah. You could just have it that you treat maybe poison immunity as resistance and resistance as
and
nothing.
then you bypass resistance.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what the Elemental Adept feat does.
Yeah.
Yes.
You could even specifically say like you bypass poison condition immunity, but half all durations of any effect that you have on them. Maybe you could do it that way, that they still have a resistance on that one, and you could specifically say something that,
I mean,
like
30
touch...
seconds of poison immunity for their 6th level spell. That's still basically a fight. It's 5 rounds. That's a long time.
Yeah. Granted, sometimes fights go longer, and it might have a point at that point in time. But again, you're still working on the Constitution save on top of it, and that could be the downside. And again, the final one, Warlock Patron, it's just another patron. There's plenty of other, in quotations, evil patrons you deal with, like fiends and stuff like that. Whatever,
I mean, this spell list is kind of good.
True.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm gonna tell you, like, a elemental primordial chaos or whatever. I even if it's like their goal is to sweep into the material plane and destroy everything, it still seems less evil than a lot of things that are directly evil.
Like, they have ideas for destruction, but there are plenty of other evil things, And your Warlock makes patron backs with all of them, so like, it's just a mess. I'm sorry. I love really the Genie Warlock, and some of those Genies are really evil.
Warlock is inherently the most evil class.
Yeah. I mean, it inherently has ties to evil creatures. It's not necessarily the most evil class, because, you got the whole, it's a deal, not a, Yeah. I think worshipping a demon as a cleric would be more evil than a warlock making a deal.
Yeah.
But
and again, you could always do for the storyline of you made the deal in a fit of desperation.
We've all finished Baldur's Gate 3. Can't this
I know what you're talking about. I've
finished Baldur's Gate
3. I think I got to chapter 2 that one time I played the chapter 2.
Surprised you even got the chapter 2.
Yeah. I think that's the farthest I've gotten.
I think I finished Baldur's Gate 3 like 4 times.
Look, I think it's always been the defeatism I've had.
It's a long game.
It's really the problem of the amount of times I started and stopped Divinity 2 that has really kind of ruined it for me in many ways. Because especially that last time where we got to like the midpoint of chapter 5 and ended, and I'm like, well, guess I'm never finishing this game.
Well, I apologize that my father died.
Is that what happened during that time period?
Yes, that is.
Oh my god! I'm sorry. See, that's the thing is like I'm looking back at that and not remembering. But it's sort of like it's the trauma now for other reasons about that like it was like the culmination I think of every other
I'm
time.
down to start it again.
God, you know,
I would love to play it with people.
It's been like 4 years.
I really
it's fine now.
I just have to like finish one of the games like that. I think it's just like I think that was just that entire culmination after.
I think the real problem with finishing Baldur's Gate is committing like 100 hours to a video game with a consistent schedule.
Uh-oh. Don't worry about it. I broke
full screen something.
I did.
Uh-oh.
I think I got it fixed now. It looks fixed. Probably. Don't worry about it.
Also, if we play Divinity Original Sin 2 again, you're banned from summoning anything.
I can't remember if I was a bad summoner. One of my times I was a bad summoner.
No, you just kept summoning things and turning the entire map into necrofire.
I think I wasn't the only one summoning. A couple of us were, and I wasn't helping.
Yeah, but you had the fire slug, which is why it was a problem.
Fire slug, that's right. I love that fire slug. It made funny noises.
I also broke like 5 quests by just walking off into a direction.
I tried not. At first, I was going a little too far. I tried to get better after that, where I was just trying to like be close by and just checking out stuff. I like.
You gotta have like a leash.
Man, Tanda's walking off into a random direction.
I
wonder what that's
There's
like.
stuff over there, and I want that stuff.
This is why I really do want to play Darktide with you, because I just want to see how long it takes you to wander off and just die somewhere.
I'm like, ooh, stuff.
I mean, literally, I've been playing games with Tandas on Friday for a while now, and peak. It's like me and Blaze are helping each other out. We turn around and Tandas is just gone.
I'm not gonna lie. Every time in peak, I just point myself forward and start going, and like it's then like 5 minutes later, I turn around. And I'm like, where the hell did they two go?
Just getting the
and it's all like, and we're like on the other side of the map, and we're just all like, well, Tandas went off on his own again.
Like, it wasn't even purposeful. I just went forward and just missed where you went.
Just getting like the vivid flashbacks of when we played a lot of Siege, of us, me and Umber being like, all right, Tandas, so we need to hold this door. And then 5 seconds later, you're just walking somewhere else.
Look, I held that door for a bit. Or maybe I heard something and I thought I could do something about it. Like, I did get, again, I got better, but at first it was very bad. I have to train myself a lot of times, There's, again, especially if it's a game that doesn't have shinies over there, I'm usually okay. But if there's shinies over there, I want that. God, was it?
You are a surprisingly good loot magnet. Like I would figure this stuff out like after a while, but I swear, like I'm like, okay, let's examine the surroundings. Okay, there's loot over there, and then I'm like, wait, the next 3 are already open. How did Tandas get there and open them already?
There were so many times when we played Divinity where I remember. Because I think we made Lightning the designated he sells stuff. And there were so many times where Lightning was just like, wait, why is my inventory full?
I got better after chapter, I think was it 1? We got to chapter 2, I started looting things that only had value. I learned what had money value then you don't loot everything else. It's kind of like...
My general rule for video games and loot is to basically figure out. You have to do a little bit of experimentation, but you figure out a price to weight ratio, because most of these games have weight. If it doesn't have weight, then price to slot ratio. Where it's just all like, okay, like for example, like in Oblivion, if I recall, I think it was 2, so its price to weight had to be greater than 2 for me to bother picking it up.
I can train myself on that. Like the first time I go into some place what has loot, I just want to grab everything because I'm like, ooh, shiny, and I can steal it. But I have to train myself to that. Like I did that in Skyrim too, where it was like there was a lot of like, it's a weapon, I don't need it, kind of thing like that, or like, how much magic does this have on it? Is it enough that it's valuable to sell? Things like that. I eventually got myself in that mindset, but it's sort of like I have to whenever I get into a game that has a lot of options, I have to train myself to that a little bit times. There are game modes
Yeah.
that I think are a little easier for that. Like I think like survival games, I think it's a little bit easier because you're distracted by other stuff a lot. But if it's not something where I have to worry about that, my loot goblin brain takes over
Well,
very
also
quickly.
survival games. First off, you do grab everything in survival games as well, but at least in survival games, everything's at least generally useful.
Again, that's where that it feeds into my loot goblin brain. It's like I like the shiny
yeah.
and I want it now. I'm secretly a cat. I hang out with enough.
Yeah, basically, cat or you have severe ADHD.
I don't know. It's just the only place it like displays in games like this, though. It's like nowhere else in life.
Honestly, I feel like that's more crow behavior. Going after the shiny thing.
Look, I will always remember. I think I worked myself through it, and I think it was Fallout 3. Fallout 3. I think I literally looted everything that existed and took it to like one house, and like after I did that, I'm like, this doesn't really feel worth it. And then I looted one of everything. After that, got rid of all the rest. But for a while, I took everything. Like, and that's the problem with Fallout 4. It was like, oh, this junk that I can use stuff for. I hate you.
And
Why
then
does that have
they-
to be useful? No, I want
And then
it.
when after training you to pick up every piece of junk that's useful, they made junk useless in Starfield.
They reversed the course that I had for so many games of like, there is that part of me that like, even if I don't loot everything, it's that one of everything. So sometimes when I'm in a dungeon, I'll be like, if it's something I don't recognize, oh, I'll take that. I don't know if I've got that or like a version of that back home or something like that, But I do like the one of everything at very least nowadays. Anyway, but that was at least the villainous options. There's some other things related to D&D we can talk about. Hey, we're getting 4 tie-in books to Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
They're showing off the...
They're still milking that bullshit.
Oh, they are
Well,
going to for years.
It's fine.
I know.
And the thing is, I think it wasn't a bad... I think that they did a very good story, and Larian told a very good story. So it's like expanding upon that with other stuff isn't necessarily bad in a lot of ways because of that. I just think it's sort of like... I don't know if there's a limit to it, but I think it can be done poorly, though, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the coloring book is like towing the line, I think.
Yeah.
Because Baldur's Gate is not really the kids' game, and that's traditionally what coloring books are marketed for.
No. My sister there's a whole adult community around coloring books.
Right, but the primary market for coloring books is traditionally
true.
kids.
When you sell it to a company as an idea, you tend to market it towards kids.
Yes. And then I mean the D&D cookbook is good, so I mean it's just another D&D cookbook.
Yeah. And at least the Astarion book has one of the writers from Baldur's Gate 3, Steve Rooney, and
the
audiobook's
author
narrated
of
by
this-
Neil.
I also want to note T. Kingfisher is the author, is a very well established and good fantasy author.
Okay, so that at least the prequel book they are putting out there is a very good pedigree for a lot of things for it.
And the prequel book to the D&D movie was also very good.
I want to say, for the cookbook, it says the recipes will be organized by course and location within the world, and other dishes designed for sharing will be tagged romanceable.
That's fine.
I just find that I'm not like I think it's corny in a corporate corny kind of thing, but I do think it's kind of a...
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely really corny, but it's the kind of corny you can be like, yeah, you know what, we'll live with it. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean like I said, the other D&D cookbook is really good. So
yeah,
and also usable, unlike a lot of IP based cookbooks.
Yeah, did a good job there.
And shout out to the Halo cookbook.
How does that work?
I don't know, but it exists.
All right, moving along on our wild tour of some D&D stuff, we are getting something free related to the new Dungeon Master show. They are putting out some
Hey,
play-along pack
zombie
stuff.
plot.
Yeah. The good news about this is free-to-play, play-along stuff with the show. So I'm like, hey, that's not bad. I think I'll give that a thumbs up, you know? It's free stuff. Granted, the D&D Beyond stuff, so you have to have it there. But
I mean, it's free to make a D&D Beyond account.
yes. So whether you want to actually use D&D Beyond or not, you can at very like
or just
as the place you're
look at
running
the
it.
stat block and copy it onto whatever you use.
Yeah, you can at least get the information for what's going on in the adventure from there. So you know, there you go. Cool. Here's one related to what we talked about last week because apparently. This is an interesting one. I'm going to say by lore, because I'm interested that they're bringing him back for it. The Ravenlock book will apparently have Lord Soth in there. Now, you don't know about Lord Soth. Lord Soth is a very Greyhawk.
Isn't he like
character.
the OG Death Knight?
He's the OT Death Knight. He
Also
was
Dragonlance.
in second edition for a time a Dreadlord. But then he got free again. He's one of those ones that did manage to get free. A couple of them do, because then he showed up. Or is he Dragonlance?
He is Dragonlance.
So then he got back to Dragonlance in AD&D era already. You know, he managed to escape somehow. No one knows for sure. Kind of like Vecna when he was a demigod, got trapped as a Dark Lord for a while. But it's hard to trap a demigod, you know, because he was already that actually. So he did find a way to escape. Probably when he ascended to godhood or in between there or something like that.
Yeah.
But Lord Soth escaping was an interesting part of it. So him being back is also interesting there too.
Now, what I'm curious about is how are they going to handle the fact that he's not evil anymore? Because his plotline ended with him being like having his honor restored and going off into the afterlife to do nonsense. So I wonder if they're just going to be like, hey, nah.
They might just do a nah for that one there.
Because to be fair, I don't think anyone...
That
was, to be fair, that was in the War of the Souls books, which I don't believe are particularly popular.
Okay, so it was like one of the...
Dragons of the Vanished Moon is when it technically happened.
They say his departure from Ravenloft was shown in a 1990 book, Spectre of the Black Rose. So this is one of those things is I don't always know all the novels. So
are they just going to be like, this is before he was redeemed, which they could easily do because they haven't done Dragonlance properly yet. So
this could just be of his time before he left also in Spectre of the Black Rose, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally see a kind of like, this is before he left, but you can technically go here after he left because Ravenloft is weird, or because, you know, that Ravenloft is weird. Where it's like, you know,
because they do say we've seen him in two books since then, campaign books, Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen and the Eye of Ruin, but those are set during the War of the Lance, they say. So that's like back in the timeline. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how they display him. He's a character that makes me fascinated in the way they're going to do this, and you know what's going on with Thickus. I can never pronounce that name. Look, I'm sorry. So many of these names of things I can never pronounce correctly. Oh, okay. So they're putting Soth not directly in the book, but in a mini adventure pack with it. Hey, it's the DLC for the book.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it be. It is what it is. And I can ignore it.
Interesting. Oh, and the Dungeon Master show will have them in Lord Soth's domain. Oh, okay, that's another reason why
that's
they're
fun.
Bringing him back. Okay. So yeah, interested about stuff with it, but it's a kind of it is one of those weird things that kind of head scratchers overall. Like, he's an interesting character though too, and if they are just showing him back in his time period of during that, it's not bad necessarily. But yeah. So, this is got an image that doesn't match what they're talking about here, but D&D's getting energy drinks. The same company, they're showing off images. They just put out 2 Transformers themes energy drinks. So now they're also going to be doing some Dungeons & Dragons themed ones that are going to be out in October, because we can't have, you know, we have to have energy drinks flavored of it, and it's Elder Blight Elixir and Mist Blossom Essence, which I don't know what the hell those will be. I'm not a big energy drink person anyway. I know some people that are. So
Yeah, I don't do energy drinks because they usually have just way too much sugar in them for me.
my niece has started getting into them. I shake my head.
That
But
you need to put a stop to that one.
I really do. She likes a good Red Bull.
Honestly,
apparently.
I have one
Kid-
diet soda. I have one diet soda a day, and the rest of my day is water.
That is what I try to do, and I'm trying to even phase out diet soda to maybe just be a carbonated water.
Mm-hmm. I was okay when she was just into Dr. Pepper, but
kids should not be consuming this level of caffeine. It's not good for them.
she's a teenager now.
But
keep
like,
forgetting
what are
that.
you gonna do when every fucking YouTuber has an energy drink powder?
Mhm. Yeah, but I can again just a statement. I keep forgetting my niece is a teenager now. She's reached that age. So much older. She's been around for so many years at this point in time. You know, she was always stream niece. Now she's just gotten to be like cranky teenager.
She's still your niece. So it's
Gonna
just-
leave that fucking weirdo who lives in his house alone.
she's bothersome in different ways.
My
So-
nephew is 4,
Fun.
Time flies.
or he's gonna be 4 in July. But
But yeah, there we go. That's a bunch of D&D crap going on. Some of it's a little bit more interesting than others, but you can also now look forward to an energy drink if you really like those. I'm not gonna lie, if you like them, it's on you. And you know, if you can tolerate
Yeah,
them,
I
like
mean,
them, and maybe
if
it'll be
you
flavor
like
you
them,
like.
look, if you like them, at least get the 0 sugar.
Mm-hmm.
they're less likely to kill you than Panera Bread's lemonade.
That's true.
It's one of those things is I'm not for a lot of those kind of like energy drink things or those supplements, like a lot of the ones that like streamers do and stuff like that. But at least there's that. I can't, which one? One of the brands has some 0 caffeine things and stuff too. And I'm like, you know,
I believe Gamer Subs is entirely 0 sugar.
yeah, and I think they also have some 0 caffeine ones too. And I'm like, you know what? Cool on you. That's ones that I like.
It's
a
like
little bit more
I looked
supportive of.
into it because I was like, you know, maybe it's an avenue to throw some money at a streamer I like, and then I saw the names of the drinks. I'm like, I don't want it.
Their
Oh,
names
yes.
are certainly something. Every time I hear about them, I'm just like, you know, it's the weird thing about like sometimes I'll see like someone will announce I've got a flavor now, and they actually have like an okay name. Like I'm not gonna lie, Bricky's flavor, you know, it's fine. You know, it's not a great name, but it's not the worst of some of them out there. But then I just look back and I think to myself, I just like a nice glass of iced tea. Just
Yeah, I don't
unsweetened iced tea.
wanna
That's what I
be
drink.
drinking
Just-
some shit called like splooge, which is what I think Cottontails is.
Just some leaf water, no sugar, just some leaf water, maybe a little bit
Look,
of
I
caffeine.
have my occasional daily Coke Zero Cherry.
Mhm. As I say, a little bit's not bad. Just don't overdo it. You know, I think that's the best advice I've
everything in
ever heard from
moderation.
someone. Yeah, if you do a little bit of moderation, you can have some stuff in there. The body's good and resilient. You know, if you want some of the some cruddy processed candy from the store, go ahead and get some. Just have like a couple a day and don't go crazy.
Don't eat the whole bag.
That's why I don't buy Reese's peanut butter cups. I would probably go through the entire bag.
That's why I stopped buying potato chips.
Yeah. I think the worst thing I can do nowadays is I go through like a third of a bag of like corn chips with some salsa. If I get those two things, or like tortilla chips. I don't know how bad tortilla chips are. Probably a little salty. I'm going to assume that. But fresh salsa's nice. I like that.
I mean, tortilla. It depends on the type of tortilla chip, but yeah, they're not great for you. They're in the brand of what I like to call things that have the exact same calorie like amount, and like potato chips have like the exact same calorie count for like the size, you know, as like you know, Cheez-Its and those kind of things. There's a lot of stuff that like fits in that weirdly same category. Where it's like you get about the same amount of food for about the same amount of calories. Which shows just how like engineered it is.
Science. So a brief stop by some TCGs and Minions because we have a yet more thievery of Pokemon cards, and this time also football cards. $100,000 of cards were basically stolen from a shop in Chicago. So it's a pretty big theft of Pokemon-based cards and stuff like that. We'll hear more probably about it later, as we do hear about these. But, I'm sorry, the way the market is, we're hearing about this more. They've driven these things to be expensive, and so people are taking them then.
I honestly don't. Like, Pokemon could stop this at any time by just making their cards, not super. Well, they wouldn't though. They want to keep the hype up. They'd rather people do crime than make less money.
Yeah.
It's also, I don't think, entirely Nintendo's fault or Pokemon Company's fault.
Oh, it's not their fault. I'm just saying that, like, as far as these, like, the trading card the trading card business as a whole is just feeding itself more and more to crime. I feel like there's been so many like thefts and stuff lately. I feel like
It's always Pokemon.
Pokemon is the worst of them all.
Magic has had a few.
Magic's had a few bad things. I mean, everything around the Final Fantasy was kind of like a little bit bad there. But I do think it's sort of like, I think Magic has the problem that they, like, I think from the sounds of it, Pokemon doesn't necessarily like do anything with the secondary market. They just don't manage things very well, and with the popularity of it, they could manage the way things are sold and managed and a lot of stuff like that would cut down on a lot of this problem here and there too. They could set down specific rules, that would be, cut out scalping a lot, this one person can buy one thing. Good luck. You're only allowed to get one. Sorry, you'll have to come back another day if you want more. That kind of would cut it down in a lot of ways, especially if you focus more on, I don't know, the smaller local game stores rather than big box stores also too.
I actually learned this recently because they have the Pokemon vending machines where you can buy the boxes out of.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently they're programmed to go into like a kind of lockdown if people buy too much at once. But the issue is people will just stand there and wait for it to unlock and then buy more. And there is no way to fix any of these issues.
I think on that end,
other than making things less but there are ways to
you could just
making things a bit less rare.
Here on that one,
reprints.
You could just say like, you could just put a little disclaimer. If you use this, you have to use a card. Your card will be in the system for 24 hours. In this machine system for 24 hours. You are limited to 5 for 24 hours. Have a good day.
Sure, you can fix that, but then how do you fix the problem of people literally just being 40-year-old men raiding a Target?
That's the worst part about it. I think the big
stores.
box stores.
Unfortunately, there's no way to fix the issue with Pokemon cards. It's gotten too bad.
No, that's what the thing is. There are things you can do to combat it. You're not going to get rid of it. Is what I would kind of say about it. Like there are also things like, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to point out at one that could be fixed very easily by Magic. Just acknowledging the secondary market and working around to reduce its problem. Just that.
Like, I don't know enough about Pokemon, but from what I've seen from Magic and when they have issues around stuff like scalping and whatever, there are things they can do, which is why I believe there are things Pokemon can do. I'm not like so into Pokemon that I would know.
I don't think Pokemon could get rid of it completely, but they could limit it at this point.
The issue with Pokemon is people like, sure, it is a card game you can play. That's not the big reason why people collect them. And that's what feeds into their problem. Whereas with Magic, scalping, like we saw with Final Fantasy, ultimately failed horrifically for scalpers because people actively just play the game and are just going to be like, well, I'm not going to pay $100 for this card.
Yeah, that is the thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it's all like, people don't care if it's the shiny limited special edition. They just want the card. So there's a lot less of the fighting over cards because generally you can get like the card you want.
No, not the game that some people do get those shiny ones, but it'd be kind of like I want to have the special ones for my deck.
There's definitely people who will go for
absolutely.
them, but
but like for me, since I primarily play Commander, if I don't care if it's like a shitty looking card that's a little dented, I'm playing the cardboard.
Yeah, I don't care either. I like them crisp, but
There's so many cards in some of my decks that are so fucked up that I just need to buy new ones. I'm like, but I like this card. It's well loved.
Yeah.
I need to find my Yu-Gi-Oh decks. Find out where all those are.
Follow
I know they're
I've
in
never,
my parents'
I've only
house
ever
somewhere, but-
watched the anime, which I've been told is often wildly inaccurate to the actual game.
I know
So
some
here's the
basics
thing:
of how to play.
the dual
and
deck
it's,
island, the first dual deck island one, was made basically before the game was made, and so it was just a show. After that, they actually started to use the rules more, although they still did weird stuff, in like the Kaiba competition circuit. I think that had the Egyptian god cards. After so there was some weird stuff, but it was much more by the rules. After that, it was very by the rules. Like they would actually like play by the rules after that.
I remember because I was really big into the show. I remember the Yu-Gi-Oh movie came with a card when you bought the VHS/DVD.
Look, I think I have a binder over there that she's rolling down and looking adorable. Why are you doing this?
That's a cat, not a binder.
I know, but I'm saying like she looked over at me to thwomp that kind of lie on there's half on your side, kind of rolling around like I'm adorable. Pay attention to me. Anyway, I have a binder with some Pokemon cards in it from back in the day. I did the original kind of sets. I think I missed the first edition, but like the second printing of Pokemon cards, still done by Wizards. I have the sorry. Yeah. I have the Mew from the original Pokemon movie.
I
The promo.
never got
Came
into
with that.
Pokemon cards, and I've only played like 2 Pokemon games in my life.
I was a little into it, but like I'm not gonna lie, the anime lost me very quickly during that time period because that was kind of like it was a little too. One, it is made for a younger audience, especially during that time period for me. Like this was me trying to get into whatever anime at that time. This was your Dragon Ball, your Sailor Moons, and kind of stuff like this. This is technically the era that was just before Toonami, before they codified that like kind of block that Cartoon Network had of a lot of anime and stuff there too. So you were desperate for whatever, and so like when they offered you Pokemon and it's an anime, cool, great. I'm sorry, it just wasn't a great anime. Like it has some fun nostalgia, I'm sure, for plenty of people. But like if I look at it, it's fine, and especially the English dub is just.
It depends on what year, right?
I'm talking about like the
Are
first
you
original
getting the
season.
4Kids dub or?
Oh god, I don't even remember which
something
one who was
somewhat
doing it during that
professional?
time period. We're talking like
I think it would
it's a
have been
goddamn
4Kids.
jelly donut when it's a rice ball,
That's the 4Kids dub.
Yeah, it was a thing that
I don't know. So this isn't a translation thing, but it reminded me of like a Yu-Gi-Oh thing. My favorite part in Yu-Gi-Oh in like the original Dual Deck Islands arc is when Yu-Gi-Oh plays a magic card that does a thing, and then he has like one of his creatures attack the magic card, which obviously makes no sense. But yeah, it's the joke is attack the moon because and it does like a thing which also doesn't make any sense. But what I find hilarious is they actually made a card called Attack the Moon to like do that effect. Even though he didn't actually play a card to do that, there's a card to do that effect.
Yeah.
You have to have both of these creatures out and do it's like such a niche card that it's like never gonna, and it only affects like a certain type of creature because that's obviously what it was used for. It's like the worst card ever, but they literally put it in there just because it was in the anime.
Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of ruined for me because Yu-Gi-Oh Abridged very much has bled into actual Yu-Gi-Oh memories, and now I just don't know what is real and what is fake.
Yeah. Fair. That's how I feel about Dragon Ball Z.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I was the era that I went through Dragon Ball Z, and then they did Dragon Ball GT, and I'm like, I'm out. This is stupid. I don't know what's going on.
Well, that's not Dragon Ball GT is no longer official.
I know.
Yeah, I watched Dragon Ball all the way up to Super, and then Super is where I tapped out.
I was going to watch Super when it came out, and then I decided against it because I was just like, you know what?
Not good.
like Dragon Ball was fun for the time period I watched it, but it just was never that great. It's great for certain things, but it just was never. It's again, it's what options I had at the time in a lot of ways. But
I
it's
mean,
sort of like,
Dragon Ball's the coolest thing when you're like 8 years old.
yeah, it was really neat, the time period, and I think it does have a lot of both nostalgia and good aspects to it. But like looking back, I'm also like, ugh. It's kind of like I'm not gonna lie, certain things like most of the original Naruto, terrible, mixed bag on Bleach, and hey, One Piece, like as much as I like One Piece, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the original episodes were kind of bad.
Yeah.
That's why watching the live action, I'm like, they do a good job of like retelling the story and summarizing it up into like 12 episodes, the 100 you had before. We fixed problems that were there. Thank you. It was an issue.
Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Hey, Red Dragon Inn, number 10 is out. I like Red Dragon Inn. They have a
It's
billion
my
of them.
favorite board game.
Yeah, 6 new characters. They have Boss Otto, which is a kind of thing, I guess that's a group enemy you can take on as cooperative solo, and they have special dungeon training you can do in the game. And they have some new tavern rules, so 5 new tavern rules that can be used in other games too. I knew they. I haven't played it since they added a bunch of those new like tavern rules for like different types of taverns, but I'm interested to try something.
The last time I played it was when they added the it was Red Dragon, but it was coffee instead. And one of the characters was an orc who runs a legally distinct Starbucks.
I like it. Very nice. So that's the one thing there. The other thing is we do have to give another. Sorry, I skipped forward in the thing, but I did one more in the topic there. We have to give a solemn farewell to another great one. Apparently, I didn't know about this guy, but knowing about his pedigree and what he did,
It's called Star Tusks.
Yeah.
Louis Zocchi has passed away at 91, and I didn't realize that Game Science, which I've heard of before, was basically behind a lot of the dice we have now, and the version of the D100 we know about came about because of them. I'm like, oh, yeah. There's another article.
The problem with the D100 is that they need a better one, because like the D100 that is like kind of traditional is actually really bad. There's a better D100.
The golf ball, the golf ball is okay if you have a place to roll it into.
It's not because of the golf ball. It's actually because of the number distribution.
Oh, interesting.
Like I think they made it so like on the die like there's a mathematically better way to do it, and people have done it so that way you get a better spread of numbers.
Yeah, this his dice study
44?
is very, very famous.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got one. Let me roll it.
I mean, I think you can just use the percentiles too. Percentile dice aren't.
I have 90 from me.
I don't own a D100. I just use percentile dice.
Yeah.
Technically, they're more accurate. Because of
they also
like
way
not
easier
by much,
to roll.
but a little bit. Yeah. No, like you literally have to stop the D100. It will not stop on its own.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about the D100, but I'm pretty sure if you were to just roll a ball, it wouldn't go as far as a D100. I don't know what it is about a D100. They just don't stop.
Yeah. So he did design a lot of weird dice too. Apparently, other than it creating a lot of polyhedral dice for the U.S. market beyond D6s, I think, which were the traditional one, getting them into the market a lot more here in the U.S. So hey, it's an important thing to think about, and the existence of the dice we use. Thumbs up.
Yep.
So I had a deeper discussion topic today that I think kind of it goes off of our topic we had last week. We talked about the third first party kind of content thing here, and this is the kind of thing that I have come upon in some of my research for certain games and stuff here. The semi-official versus official canon and lore, which I mean for kind of books too, because you have a good example of this is Ravenloft. So Ravenloft was originally published by TSR, that was bought up along with D&D by Wizards. Now Wizards didn't want to do something with Ravenloft, so they had a third party do a bunch of books about it, which are this kind of weird thing because then Ravenloft came back to D&D now and they're publishing stuff. So it's this kind of thing of they had the license go out to them and put these things here too. And we can kind of talk about this for other things, like the kind of weird things of the, like, I guess another kind of side thing that I guess is a little bit more official would be like Eberron, because Eberron is between two different people, but they usually print it together. So that usually that thing gets fine. You're using the entire thing. But sort of like that kind of combination of places where the idea of material is in this nebulous zone too. And I think we can do this, especially when it comes to not just RPGs that are published like these here. I think when you're like doing like specific brands of stuff, you get into this a little bit more too, when you're doing Star Wars games, and what kind of stuff are you using for your Star Wars game? When you're doing Star Trek stuff, what kind of stuff is that kind of thing about that for that's official? You've got the published stuff, but you're using material there, and it becomes this weird kind of question between, official but semi-official things versus official things sometimes that are defined for a lot of games and worlds and stuff too. And
yeah,
I think it comes down to, I'm going to boil this down in a very easy way before we kind of discuss it more. It depends on how you think you can balance things out in the world, especially if you are using the lore of a world. If I'm using a Star Trek game and I want to use something from some Star Trek novel, which is semi, official, because it's an official novel, but maybe it's not in the canon because of something that happens in one of the series, that's kind of a little weird there too. But I could do that in my Star Trek Adventures game, or using old canon for Star Wars. You could probably do that. It's there, but it's not canon now, especially like we don't get a lot of new Star Wars RPG stuff, so it's kind of harder. But like, let's say they finally reprint something or print a new book for that game line, then they kind of go against stuff like that too. It's that kind of weird nebulous point in time. And as I said, that stuff that like they licensed out Ravenloft to those people, how much of the stuff would that be considered canon now? I mean, the stuff from TSR is thrown out into a weird semi-canon space at this point in time, even though Wizards owns that at this point, so it's kind of weird. I guess they do that with every time they republish a new world. They just... Is Eberron the most consistent world?
Eberron, well, technically Forgotten Realms would be the most consistent because
But I mean,
a lot of TSR's lore for it is still there.
I guess so, but they go through weird apocalypses over and over again for different editions.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you blow up the world, the old world is still there.
I guess that's true. So I guess that those are the two that I feel like would have consistent lore you don't have to worry about in a lot of ways. But it's that kind of thing of... it's weird when you have people come in and publish things or put stuff out that is kind of official at the time, and then it doesn't become official. It's this question and thing that exists in both RPGs and honestly media. And I'm curious how you two would handle something like this if you want to bring something in from it.
The way I would handle, like, because I assume what you mean is the various interpretations of a setting that have been published by different companies.
That's a great way to say it too.
Basically, how I handle it is I'm the DM. I'm in control of what's canon.
That's true. I think though.
Yeah,
I think
same.
Lore-wise, it's the easy kind of point about it. I think most of the time, like, because that's you're handling it as a DM, but like, what if it kind of goes against the current popular lore?
My game, you don't like it, kick rocks.
Okay.
I mean, I don't. If I were into Star Wars, which I'm not, but if I were into Star Wars, I would, and I wanted to run a Star Wars game, I would 100% use like the old books as they continued on after, rather than the Disney junk.
Yeah, because the Disney stuff is, I am the canon, and I am directly pointed at your house.
It's just I think about like, working with people that know the IP though, like players that they only know the more recent IP, and kind of retraining them isn't always an easy thing to do. Also,
if I let's continue with Star Wars as an example, because there have been so many new Star Wars fans who do not know the sheer volume of novels that existed before the big wipeout of admittedly varying quality.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I know about them.
when you know only Disney Star Wars, that is fine because there is some cool stuff there. However, I don't think it would be a lot of work to sit someone down and be like, instead of this fuck ass first order nonsense, we had something sensible with Imperial Warlords. Because it's more or less the same concept, except the First Order is a condensed version of the dozens of Imperial Warlords from old canon.
I mean,
And they make less
'Cause
sense
wasn't it, like-
overall, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, wasn't
they've-
it like after this, like the Sith or the Sith kind of died, and then like they
Yeah,
broke apart, and then there was kind of more like a war of like
they've
people
done a
trying to
little bit
take
of
power.
Imperial
Kind of
Warlords
became-
anyway. Now they've kind of gone
They
back to
have, because the First Order is stupid.
that. So like, that's the one thing that like I thought was more like. I generally liked The Mandalorian as the series. It had its ups and downs. I'm going
I
to
have
say
a lot
about
of problems with The Mandalorian.
As I
Well,
said, for
beyond
me-
season 1.
ups and downs. Like I thought.
I think season 1 is perfect.
Yeah, I
But
think season
after
one was
that,
really
I have
good.
more
After that, it
problems.
was kind of more ups and downs. I think the idea, because they ran into it, some like Imperial, like the Council of Imperial Warlords that were like, trying to manipulate. They were still like friendly with each other, but generally speaking, all wanted the maximum amount of power and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
stuff
I
like
mean that is very true
Yeah.
to what Star Wars was at one point.
I mean, I've only seen 2 Disney Star Wars movies, and I will probably never watch another one.
I have seen all of them except Rise of Skywalker, and I think Rogue One is the best they ever did.
Oh, I think Rogue One was amazing.
I think that is the only good Disney Star Wars movie. But I will say there are parts of Force Awakens and Last Jedi that I do like, though I think overall those movies are
I guess
the sequel trilogy. I watched the first one.
it's
and
a
I'm
hot
like,
mess.
this is bullshit. This is not fun. I'm not gonna. Watch
We're
anymore.
doing A New Hope again, but
Yeah,
bigger.
it's literally
the first one
literally
is
A New
I'm
Hope
doing A New
repeat.
Hope again. The second one is this movie that like I'm gonna take a step back here. The second one was an interesting concept for a movie, but placing it there with what was going on in Star Wars was bad because it was sort of
Now,
like
may I-
reinterpreting the characters from the first one into a
Yeah.
new frame, and I'm like,
May-
that's in
may
a completely different
may
frame.
I
it felt like.
offer a very hot take about the second movie?
Yeah,
The Casino Planet is the best part of that movie because it's the most Star Wars the sequel trilogy ever got.
you were right.
The problem is that just didn't mean anything to the plot and went nowhere.
Yes, and again, like, I think I would be fine with certain aspects of like what they were trying to say with that one, which again, I feel like with how they established things in the first movie, it was a different direction for those characters. If I'm going from movie to movie, like if you'd taken that movie and had a standalone Star Wars movie with its own characters being introduced there on their own quest line, I think it would have been a lot better. I think it could have still worked in a Star Wars movie. But again, trying to make a trilogy out of it. It's had a very different tone. And then I saw the last one, unfortunately, and it was not good. It was.
I mean, this is the problem when you just have 3 different writers for each movie.
Hey, we've seen how that works since Warhammer novels.
Well,
Those have always been like that, though, so that's not as
I would
bad.
say the worst Warhammer novels are still probably better than any of the sequel trilogy movies.
I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things like this, and I think it really comes down to is like,
Yeah,
run what's fun for you, and if a player
yeah.
doesn't want to play in a game because they don't want to follow what you were doing, then
Sorry,
that's their problem.
Look, I'm sorry I didn't include your favorite NPC from books that exist long after I stopped caring about an IP. I don't know who they are, so they don't exist to me.
Again, I think it generally speaking isn't always a problem, especially the lore side of things, because normally you establish a version of your world no matter what, kind of like that.
Yeah,
And usually lay
like if
down like, a lot of things.
Like if I'm running Star Trek, there's a lot of stuff in Star Trek I simply do not know. Specifically, anything that happens after DS9, I don't know what any of that is.
Yeah.
That's when I stopped watching Star Trek. So I'm not going to be able to include stuff from like the shit they added in Discovery to the lore, or whatever they did for Strange New Worlds. I never watched either of those.
No.
So you get what you get. I'm old. I don't watch new media.
Yeah. I think if we talk Star Trek, it's the easy thing to say is like you could always reference the two memories, memory alpha, memory beta. I think it's memory beta. Yeah. Memory alpha.
Beta is the non-canon stuff. Yeah.
Memory beta is the extended lore, non-canon stuff. If you want to do something from there, that's fine. Memory alpha is the main stuff. I think pretty much anything on Memory Alpha would be based on stuff that you'd get from the Star Trek Adventures books. That kind of would be that.
Yeah.
The memory beta stuff is just like if you want to go into weird canon or extra canon or do a different storyline related to that, you go into there too.
One-off episode of TV show.
Yeah, or like a lot of the novels are in there. You know,
something from the MMO.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest though, with Star Trek, it's really easy because there's so many weird timeline shenanigans in that show that it's all like, well, that didn't happen in this version of Star Trek.
I do that a lot too, yes. So it's very easy to be like, you're in this universe, not that universe. Don't worry about it.
Like if I another good example, if I'm doing Fallout, which I often have run in the past, I'm largely just going to ignore Fallout 4. And to a degree, Fallout 76, because I don't like the establishments that they made in those games. I feel they're they're weak, they don't add much, and they're not well thought out. But I would include stuff from the TV show, because I think the TV show has better written lore than Fallout 4 and 76. And also takes place on the West Coast, which is the part of the universe I care about.
Yeah.
What? The Institute wasn't the most amazing
Oh man, I can't believe the game we based on a Blade Runner reference from Fallout 3 didn't have a good story.
They really did just base it off a thing from Fallout 3, you know.
A one-off quest that's a Blade Runner reference.
It's very bad to do that. You know, I'm sorry. They really just latched on to Blade. We want to do Blade Runner instead of Fallout. They really kind of did that.
Me when I completely missed the point of the Brotherhood of Steel.
It's the same thing I'm realizing now. In the other Fallout games, they have a certain type of story that feels very Fallout, and that one really is just, we wanted to do Blade Runner.
4 is a weird game because you're neither a vault dweller nor a dude who's lived in the wasteland. You're a dude who got frozen and doesn't know anything, but yet also knows everything.
I feel like it's not a terrible idea, but they don't do it well.
Also, more complaining. I find it weird that obviously it's fine that you can play as the wife. I find it weird that she knows how to use guns and power armor when she was a lawyer.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. What's weird about that is that the wife has all the same experiences as the person who fought in wars.
I genuinely think
the
better way to have handled that would have been if you pick man is the soldier. If you pick wife is the soldier. I think that would have been the better way to do that.
True. Yeah, that actually would have been way better.
Oh, here's another thing that I could have said. If they have those backstories from them, he can use power armor right away and has a lot of stuff that is. Maybe, you know, she gets options that are related to her ability as a lawyer, that she gets some like, social options and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that
but
are, like,
then you can't have the first quest be I get in power armor and kill a Deathclaw.
Maybe you could do something cooler, like where you like negotiate with a bunch of raiders, and then when the Deathclaw shows up, have them fight it for you.
You're going beyond the scope of the 4 options you get in the dialogue, Will.
It is very much just like I they could have done some stuff, and honestly, it could have been like, you know, they could have done something like they could even alluded to like maybe she did a stint in the army but became a lawyer, a veteran, a lawyer, an army lawyer. There we go. My brain forgot the word.
They
army.
could have
An army
even
lawyer.
said, just to throw a line of, while he was away, he joined and volunteered at the local militia or something, just in case, you know, and learned some skills there. That's a throwaway line. Yeah. Could have said it, didn't.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. Like, all they had to do was be like, she's an army lawyer, because army lawyers do need to be, like, have gone through training and
Yeah,
stuff. Like there's a whole thing.
Yeah, she could have been
A JAG,
retired from being a JAG lawyer to a private thing by the time we get to her now. There's a lot of different things they could have presented that would explain it. But yeah. So like again, there's like some extra things in Fallout, not a lot, but like it's an entire thing of like 76. I feel like is this mixed bag, especially learning about it from Acceptable Losses. Like there's some ideas that I think aren't bad in there, but like it's a terrible game to present them in.
I think the Bat Dragon is really cool. That's the
Yes,
only thing I know about
actually,
76, and I think it's awesome.
I actually think the original story was really cool. The problem was it was a non-functional MMO for a long time.
Yeah, I think the storylines with the version of the Enclave that was there that you find dead, I think that was sounded fine. It was the Enclave's been around the entire time. I think the early version of Brotherhood of Steel, because what Brotherhood of Steel was technically being settled in the West Coast at that point in time.
Yeah.
So the person that was like, okay, I'll negotiate with you, and then everything fell apart here in that region, I think that's also fine too. It makes sense that like just the one group may have still had some connections outside there, but they kind of fell apart, and that makes them more insular, which led to the formation that we know about in the future. That can be interesting storytelling. But they just don't do well around it. Anyway. So yeah, so I think definitely speaking, the idea of a lot of like the lore aspect of it is up to you. If you're doing stuff outside of what's common knowledge for different places, talk with your players. If it's something that they need to know, if it's not something that they would be presented in the game, which doesn't make a big difference or stuff too. Like especially if it's like major storyline stuff too. I think that's the important part. Like
yeah, I feel like funny enough, I feel like the Star Wars talk was the most relevant because I feel like that's the one where it's like if you're not going to be doing Disney stuff, you need to make that clear to people.
You have to make it clear, and then you have to have like a little chat of like, here's what Star Wars is gonna be like in this little timeline.
Yeah, and I feel like it's time
like,
period too for that one a lot of times too.
Yeah. I feel like though, like non-official things in D&D happen all the time. Like everyone changes everything for those, so it's not really that big of a deal.
D&D is a little easier. I think like here's the thing. I'm gonna take a step back and say, I love Ravenloft. It's like one in probably 1 in 20 Dark Lords / domains are written well. 1 in 20 of the amount they've done, both including Wizards from the TSR era. Now, I haven't checked a lot of the stuff that was in the I can't remember what company is that did the 3rd edition version of it, but there was a company that did 3rd edition as well. I would probably at some point in time maybe want to check that out to see if they did a good job of writing it. I haven't talked about it in any of my videos because it is like that weird semi-official version of stuff, because again, like they had the license, they published it, but we don't know how much Wizards cares about it now that they don't have them publishing it anymore and stuff like that. It's that weird point in time where, yeah, someone bought the... I'm not gonna lie, there's like the amount of weird... It's Star Trek, going back to Star Trek. There's a bunch of different Star Trek RPGs that were out there before we get to like even Star Trek Adventures, the one that we have now. So they probably had some storylines written into them. What were they? I don't know. You could probably reference some of those. It'd be weird, but it's alternate histories and kind of stuff like that. Star Trek's easy for that one, though, in general.
Yeah. I mean, even like I'm realizing that with when I ran Star Wars, something I realized I used that I have now realized towards the end of the people just don't know Star Wars like I do. The little it's a little talked about thing, and it's super old, but something I used was the fact that in the middle of the big galactic war, there were bits of the Empire that were like, fuck this, we're gonna rebel.
Yeah.
I think that would have maybe been more handy to explain when I ran that game.
Yeah, because I think in that case, for the old canon, it was a lot more like the rebellion as we know it was united to be like, let's bring back the old ways in the New Republic. But there were sections that were like, we still want to be an empire, what we are now, but we don't want to be part of you because you suck, kind of thing like that.
The fun fact, the Galactic Empire was not a stable regime in old canon.
No.
The Imperial Civil War is very much a thing that occurred after the Death Star went boom.
Yeah, and it's it makes sense though too, because it was like it was a despotic state, and when the people that want to form that, like the republic again, break a lot of their major power, then the power struggles happen, especially with the emperor dead at that point in time. The power struggle in the vacuum, as you can see, is a kind of mess, and you can assume plenty of people are trying to take it over, but no one's a Sith Lord. I that's the thing, is like,
Yeah.
you also probably lost a lot of the major people that were there. That's the thing, is the amount of like important people that probably also died in all those battles. It's staggering for a lot. There's a lot of they lost a lot of those like big admirals and major generals and stuff in a lot of these battles that we kind of talk about in the original trilogy. They lost a lot of their higher end people. So
Yeah, and then another thing for Star Wars that I think a lot of people nowadays don't realize is the current canon is the war ended pretty swiftly after the Death Star 2 exploded. In, I think, like, old canon, it was like 20 more years of grueling civil war before it actually ended.
Yeah, I think it doesn't feel like in the new canons as much. It's still not like right away. It's still a number of years and stuff, and a number of big battles, but it does feel like it's a lot less than that 20 years.
That's because the Battlefront 2 happened.
Yes. Oh, Battlefront 2. I don't think I've ever played one of those games, but I just know them. But
They're good.
It's fine. The story plotline of I'm a salty boy named Palpatine, so I'm gonna blow up my empire instead of letting someone else have it does make sense. It's just presented in a goofy way.
Goofiness.
I remember the story of the Battlefront games, but I remember they were fun.
They were very fun.
So I think the other side of this, other than the lore side, is like the mechanical assumptions and stuff too. Because like, I'm not gonna lie, most games that are built under a certain lore and stuff give you the stats for that. So it's that entire thing of, if you want to go beyond this, like, you have to adapt things. Like, if I want to use, granted, this works for like anything. Like, I'll use Ravenloft for example. Like, I talk about like both the TSR era and the third party era. I'm not gonna lie, both of those you're gonna have to make up stats for if you use either of those, because the old stuff you're still using stuff for. But like, Star Trek Adventures, if you're bringing in species from this book that is from memory beta, not memory alpha, and you want to have it as like a playable thing, or a NPC that might have stats and stuff, you might have to come up with some things based on it. You can probably ignore a level of that, but if you're using stuff, you might have to come up with some stuff along those lines. Star Wars, if you're doing some things in old canon, depending on the game system you're running, you might have to come up with some stuff for that, like some unusual force powers, or an alien species that has certain abilities or something like that. Depending on the system you're working on, you might have to homebrew some stuff around that. That's going to be on you, and I'm not going to lie, it's the same thing with all homebrew. It's a crap dice roll if you're going to do it well or not. It's you extending beyond what is physically written in RPG books is at your own risk always. There are simple homebrews that are just as much as, hey, we do this. It's stuff like they codified in 5.5. Those were simple homebrews. Creating your own class or your own species, you're rolling a dice on that one, how well it's going to go. Sometimes it's easy, and sometimes you want something cool, and that ability might either be broken or just really bad. Probably don't have to worry about it as much in 5th edition, I'm not going to lie. But if you really like stuff for like more complex systems like Pathfinder, sure. Star Wars I don't know about. Star Trek? That was probably easy too. Not going to lie. It's just certain series, like groups of IPs where it's a lot easier. Definitely. I think that's the same for any homebrew. But it's why everybody makes everything for D&D, because it's D&D 5e and 5.5 are actually really easy to write for in a lot of ways.
It's easy to write for, and you have the built-in "I'm not going to sue you" clause. Yeah.
So, makes it a little easy. But again, like, it's an issue that you have to kind of face a lot of times with these things. It's just, these are the things you have to think about when you're extending beyond the official lore in a lot of ways. Is how you're mechanically going to include it in. Is it going to be difficult? Is it going to be easy? And again, the other thing then is just make sure you tell your players enough stuff about it. You can use whatever. It's your game.
Yeah.
You are the charge of the canon of your world. Just inform your players of it. You know? Yeah. I think there was something else I wanted to say about this, but when I wrote this down a week ago, I cannot remember where direction I was going to go with it. Or technically, but I think that's a pretty good spot to kind of discuss this concept a little bit here. Unless
Yeah,
anybody else has
just remember, as the DM, you're the arbiter of lore. You are the final say of what's canon.
Yeah. And it's the same way that even no matter what world you're using, pre-published or otherwise, your version of it's your version of it. If I'm using Galarian, my version of Galarian is going to be different than everybody's Galarian. Honestly speaking, every time I use Galarian, it's probably a different version of Galarian because I'm just using it for that game, you know?
You
And
can't have too many freaks running around.
no. Enough random adventurers show up in lore and Pathfinder. It's like some adventurers showed up and did something. Great! That's the canon thing that happened. They showed up and did some things. Don't worry about it. God. Like, you know, I at least like that. I'm not gonna lie. Galarian has nice in-game. There's a group of adventurers you can be part of. That makes sense. You're just a Pathfinder. Pathfinder Society.
Yep.
It's the closest thing they have to like the trope of the Adventurers Guild without being a direct Adventurers Guild. Better name for it. Anyway, all right, shall we finish up by talking about our week, which I think might be mostly you guys, because I think I didn't do anything this week. I'm having Joe's game on Sunday, and my game got canceled, as we talked about. So I guess Momo, we'll turn it over to you. You got early games for the week. How did things go?
Yeah. So Monday game, we had a big combat. We basically learned that the evil, awful humans who don't like us because we're not humans, we're gonna siege the city we're in. So we went and had a big old combat to kill them, and we mostly won. And this was the session where me and Jay finally rolled above 5. So we actually were able to do things in combat efficiently and not have to rely on the graze mechanic from fighter to chip damage enemies to death.
Huh.
So it went fine. We fought a wizard who, he's kind of like left because he didn't want to die. Which I think is perfectly reasonable for a wizard to do.
Yeah, wizard gets beat up and they're just like, you know what? We're saying no.
Peace out. I'm out of here. Yeah, we just had big combat.
Okay. Cool. How about Tuesday?
Right. So Tuesday we are almost done with this book. I think it's book 4. Right? I think we're almost done. We're doing the last thing we have to do before we go and kill Brazili through, presumably. We have to break someone out of a prison. So we killed a bunch of Hell Knights, get to them, and then we found a lich in the basement who was guarding the prisoner, who then I proceeded to kill in a single round because I'm a paladin and I did 150 damage to it.
Sounds about right. That sounds very paladin.
So yeah, no, it just died. We had to have a minute of I kind of broke Cell because I don't think you'd ever seen someone do that high damage at level 11 before. But that's just what it'd be like when Paladin
plus Smite plus you're weak to Smite plus some other stuff, you know.
The issue I think maybe came when we discovered the fact that you can dimension the door with other people. So once again, the sorcerer dropped a tactical paladin on the boss. Yeah, it turns out when the AP is mostly devils, undead, and evil things, a paladin's really good.
Look, you know, I like big damage in Pathfinder. I'll never lie. It does make me think of the game that I did one mythic game. In this mythic game, we got to like I think it was we were like level 19 or 20, and I had in my massive wisdom chosen to be a scythe build. Scythes are time for critical. I was a strength-based scythe build with all these power attack abilities. I attacked and crit twice in a round.
Yeah,
and did like 600 damage to something with two crits.
We did realize we had been doing Smite wrong the entire game.
Oh god.
Because we assumed, we never looked into, because of course why would we?
Yeah.
The Smite damage isn't rolled, so it doesn't crit multiply. No, it crit multiplies.
No, it's additive to the damage. It's like your strength modifier multiplies. It's in that group.
So we were doing that wrong for 3 books. Yeah.
Explains the nuke a lot more. Yep.
Yeah, rip that lich who was down there for like 1,000 years or some shit.
He was there. He was like, "Hi, I'm just Lichin. How's it going?"
I mean, he'll reform because we didn't break his phylactery, so he'll just live down there longer, I guess.
He's just gonna have like some trauma after all that. You know, he's just like gonna be keeping his eye out. It's like, is there some guys? Is there a paladin around? Gotta be careful.
Once again, I truly do not know what the other 2 books of this AP are. Because it definitely feels like once we kill Brazili through, and that's the AP's done.
Yeah. Look, this is not the first time I have not only been, but understand a game where this kind of thing happens, because I'm going to point at you, Skulls and Shackles.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Paizo's writing sometimes is like, and then this thing happens, and there was no hinting that it would.
It's like, well, you defeated your big arch nemesis. This guy that kind of had been a jerk to you the entire time, now he's your enemy. He really wasn't against you before, but now he's gonna totally declare you guys, I'm going to murder you, grr, snarl.
You defeated the evil captain who hated you for really not that much of a reason. In his sleeve was his notebook that explains all of his plans. Go deal with it.
Yeah, God, it really kind of was like that. I mean, I guess I'm not gonna lie. You know what I think would have been a much better thing for Skulls and Shackles as the finale? A lot of stuff of the adventure being building up the fleet rather than just you have a fleet, and then the big climactic battle being the naval battle, but the entire thing be then you ram the admiral ship and the big final battle is against the admiral.
So weird.
That probably would have been a much better thing, because that makes sense as being a co-conspirator with Harrigan and was coming, and then making the admiral and the fight be the final enemies, and you could have done some things along the way and had some semi-filler of trying to unite together these forces, maybe doing something convincing Bone Fist to join with you. Then you could just have him still die along the thing, his ship gets sunk in the battle, oh no, too bad. Now we have to have someone else in charge. Oh, you guys led the way. Now you can be. Something. You can do something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I always feel like they almost never really land the endings for these APs.
You probably even had him betray you in the middle of the battle, and you turn against
him,
sink his ship. Yeah. And him leaving, then he's driven out because he abandoned everything.
Took the time to leave and steal a bunch of shit.
Yeah. There's a lot better ways it could have been presented, and as I said, I feel like the person that was invading the entire Shackles would have been a better final villain of the entire thing. If you want to make a ramp up from Harrigan, make the invasion the final thing rather than the beginning of the next book.
I will say we have been what Saul's been doing now, because Joe is a touch attack based character that deals a fireball worth of damage per attack on a single guy. Excel's been just slapping the advanced template onto random people, and it's actually made the combats more fun.
I'm sure.
So if you run Pathfinder 1E again, you might want to start doing that at a certain point.
I think it's trying to find out in the balance of it too. It's a lot of those things, and like
yeah, like, and because Joe obviously was not there for that session, I did finally get to actually kill things instead of having a pipe bomb thrown at the thing I'm fighting and it dies, and I have to walk 30 feet to the next guy, get one attack, and that's he's dead already. Okay.
not gonna lie, I think I want to do a little bit of work on it, but there is one of the adventure paths I actually kind of want to run. I kind of want to run the first one, Rise of the Rune Lords, because it doesn't.
Fair.
Yes, it is. It's got a little bit of like 3.5 in it. I'd probably run the newer edition of it that was was updated a little bit, but it is just a standard fantasy adventure in a lot of ways. There isn't a lot of that extra fluff, which I think leads to a lot of the problems with there. There is some, so it probably need a little bit of work. But again, being a standard, it's a fantasy adventure, I think would be interesting to kind of dive into, and see how that one runs. I don't know. Part of me wants to do that. Just part of me.
Yeah, why not, right? I mean, Pathfinder 1E is fun enough.
Yeah, and I feel like it is the essence of a lot of what would become Pathfinder 1E in its simplest form, which is also probably the best sometimes, because the adventure paths, they do best when they're doing something simple.
Yeah. I mean, the big problem with Hell's Rebels is it's an adventure where you have like 2 combats in the day, and then you can just go take a nap and get all your stuff back to go have 2 more combats in a day.
Yeah.
That's kind of the problem when your game is based in a single city.
Up until Saturday, anybody else do anything? Again, like
I put the offer for Dark Tide out and no one answered my call.
I was actually thinking about doing that on Wednesday, but then I caught up working on some other stuff.
That's fair.
It was just
I was actually planning to do my own stream, but then I just got like that wave of tiredness.
No, I get it.
Yeah. Just like I'm gonna go. Just
I also went to bed at like 10.
Yeah. There was a point in time where I was like thinking of sending something out like around like 9:30, but I'm like, that's starting too late. I was working on some stuff for a while, and I'm just gonna get back to that. Fair. It's just it was a good excuse to catch up on some stuff in the week. It's been a week of like I think I best described it as me waiting around for like a call back for long portions of the day. It's not good because you can kind of do some stuff during that time, but you also can't.
I get it. It's been a stressful week here with family dealing with government nonsense, and then me working too much.
Yay, government nonsense.
And the good old efficient Pennsylvanian government.
I'm not gonna lie, it's the stupid thing of like, as I talked about it, it's like calling the general helpline was so much more helpful than the actual people that you're supposed to work with directly.
Yep.
And it's sort of like, but you're like, but you have to talk to that person. So it's okay, cool. Can I reach them? No.
Nope.
So it's like, well, we can kind of send them a message. Great.
Can I have their direct phone number, please?
Sorry, they're out to lunch all day. I got that.
And it wasn't until Thursday I was able to reach them. And then they were busy, so I had to call them back on Friday and finally reach them again. And finally was able to handle it. Not for trying throughout the week to try to reach them. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, sounds like California is at least better.
Oh, Pennsylvania is like one of the worst states to deal with their government.
They have some of the worst bureaucracy.
I believe we also rank as like one of the most corrupt states.
Yeah, that makes sense, unfortunately.
Yay.
Anyway, how did Saturday go? Because I assume no one else did anything the rest of the week tabletop.
No, I didn't do much.
Yeah. I mean, I think I can say, because I'm thinking of putting a version of the video up on it. I have been continuing my work on making magic decks from different time periods and stuff like that. Just some
quick Google search shows that Pennsylvania is the 10th most corrupt state.
Yay! We're not the worst.
Nah, we need to do better. We need to be number 1.
Louisiana is the worst.
That doesn't surprise me.
Sorry, Louisiana.
This is by the way, this is number of convicted government employees per government employee divided by the number of government employees. Is how they got these numbers.
Yeah, it makes sense. The best percentage of government corruption. Yeah. So I finally got to working on the interesting combination.
Texas has the most total,
Oh.
but they also have a giant population. So
yeah, they have a lot more people probably there, so it's not as big a percentage.
so there's a lot more government employees.
Yeah, I've finished up all my unlimited decks and started working on some decks that are revised Antiquities and Arabian Nights. And I'm going to say, looking at Arabian Nights and Antiquities, I'm like, I will take a couple of cards from these, and the most of these are just no. Magic wasn't really good back in its original days. Limited was okay, but Magic really wasn't good back in those days. Anyway, how's Saturday? How's today, Worm? Yeah, poor Weezy.
It was good.
How'd the game go?
Yeah, we just kind of explored more of the islands. We kind of kicked everyone out last time. You know, as I said, probably caused some generational trauma that's going to cause a lot more infighting in the future, but whatever.
But you created
Nice.
enemies that will be for the future, but aren't going to be for you in the future.
Well,
It's gonna be
no.
for someone
Yeah,
else
it's not
in the
going to be for
future.
us because we're going to leave the planet because it's spells.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not ruining every town you come across in D&D, what are you doing?
Especially when you just fly into space and ignore the problem.
I mean, it was a bunch of people who worship objectively evil deities, so who cares if we do the nice thing and kick them out instead of killing them all?
Yeah, you know.
It's better, right? Anyway, but we do find some hook horrors, which we then make a deal with, so they can stick around with the new people who we're bringing in to run the town. So that we you know, did terrible things to the drow, but you know, we'll be nice to the hook horrors. And we just found some more loot and then counted up loot, and that was basically the session.
Not gonna lie, I feel like you're the bad guys.
No. Honestly, in this one, I really do feel like we're the bad guys. Like, I feel like to be fair, it got really out of hand really fast, but we also handled it. We literally never tried to negotiate until we had literally like basically we came to kill the dragons. We snuck in the back way where the dragon's lair was and killed the dragons. And a lot of the people, because a lot of the people came up to defend the dragons. But then after that, we kind of just didn't do anything, and the whole town went into a tizzy, and then like they kept trying to come up and attack us, and we kept killing them. We didn't try to negotiate at any point after that. And we really should have. I'm pretty sure I recommended it, but whatever.
Look, you know, you gave a suggestion
But, you
that
know,
could be completely
to be
ignored
fair,
for more violence.
part of the issue was that one of the players stupidly picked up a sword that made him want to fight more, because of course you see a sword loose in the loot pile, and you just decide to grab it because that's a smart thing to do.
Hey. Not only do you grab it, you decide it's really cool to use. This would be a great sword to use. It'd be wonderful.
And then another player saw a giant, and his deity that he worships hate giants, so he swore to kill that giant. So it kind of just snowballed from there. Those two things together really just screwed everything up.
You know, you learned an important lesson. Violence was the answer.
No, my character is a tinker gnome, so he has
Oh god. So, yes, I guess the answer was explosions.
Yes. Actually, to be fair, in the initial fight, I actually got my first reroll on so in AD&D, like in the first fight, in AD&D, you can get pistols. And the way it works is they're supposed to be, you know, like super inaccurate. So, but and like they mess up sometimes and stuff. So it's like if you roll 1, they jam. If you roll if you roll on the attack, but because they're kind of hard to hit where you aim, the way they simulate that is by if you roll like it's a D8, and if you roll a 7 or an 8, you got to roll the die again. And the first person I shot at in that encounter, I got 2 rerolls. So I rolled like a 7, and then I rolled an 8, and then I got like a 4, and it just blew them up. So yeah, there were kind of explosions. There was an exploding head at one point.
You brought forth gunfire in the most violent ways. You exercised your American rights, even though you weren't American. Space America.
Yep. Honestly, I exercised my Tinker Gnome rights, which is to
Look, I'm not gonna lie.
Honestly,
Tinker Gnomes don't have any
something.
rights. They are the worst people in the all of Spelljammer. They cause the most explosions and death amongst everyone. They're the most hilarious, but also the most dangerous. No one keeps them around when they have the choice. Look, you know, no one can deny them. Damn you, Tinker Gnomes! You can do great destruction. They're still my favorite. I love them, but also hate them. If I'm not playing one, it's just like, please don't be near me. You're going to cause me to explode. I love Spelljammer. There's some silly stuff in there. I'm sad again. Damn you, 5th edition. Anyway, I guess is that everything that tabletop people did this week?
Yeah.
All right. We'll leave things there.
Yeah,
Nice.
Anyway, that's my character in the game.
Ooh, neat. Cool. I'll turn it over to you two to shouts out. I assume Momo, you don't normally have anything, so we'll throw it over to you.
No, I got nothing.
Worm, we'll throw it over to you for your shout out.
Yeah, I'm DiamondWyrm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWyrm or at DiamondWyrm on Twitter and Blue Sky and YouTube. And my next stream should be tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. PDT. What do I want to do tomorrow?
Always a question.
I'm thinking Cobalt Core. I'm kind of coming to the end of both Tactical Breach Wizards and Silksong. I probably have like 3 more sessions of Silksong and 1, maybe 2. It depends on how much like little extra stuff there is afterwards. Maybe 3 of the Tactical Breach Wizards. However, I've also started doing Cobalt Core, which I do want to play more of because I'm curious about the story of that. But it'd be kind of nice to finish up a game because I would like to add in Temtem because I have been playing that a lot and it would be kind of fun to restart that and do that on stream. But I'm also probably not going to stop playing that because I really just want to keep playing it. So I don't know. I'll figure that out. I'm thinking Cobalt Core though.
Gotcha.
Or Silksong. Actually, it might just be Silksong. We'll see.
Okay. Cool. For myself, hi, Dracovin. I will be back on Tuesday. My plan is, of course, to catch up on some tabletop-related stuff I'm doing there, maybe work on another Magic deck or 2, and, of course, dive back into some more God of War, as we've been kind of just... I am very wander around in that game. I'm not going to lie. I do like the, I could just do some story. But there's some stuff over there where I can beat up some things, and get treasure. Oh God, I am really bad at it. I am so loot coded. I'm so horribly loot coded. God, if it's a video game where you can give me loot, I'm gonna take advantage of it. God. Anyway, and then of course the regular week, and we should be back for Frosty Job on next Wednesday. Yeah. I don't have a lot to set up for that game because I'm pretty well prepared. I might just throw together a couple extra characters that might be able to be in the area in case I need them. Some backup NPCs in case you do some crazy shit. You never know. That might be a good idea to do. I was thinking about doing that, so maybe I'll do that a little bit. But otherwise, yeah, we'll just do that then, and it'll be a normal week otherwise. So thank you everybody who joined us today. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more of these shows other than checking these out, these are all archived over on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, please check out some more of them. There are plenty of good shows where we talk about more interesting, deeper discussions and more things that you might want to check out in the realm of tabletop that maybe perhaps you missed in the various different weeks. I have my links down below. There's always checking out other shows, and there's always remember to do the various things to support. Anyway, any of us. Until next time, until next week, same time, same show, probably same people. I said all to you out there, have a good day, weekend, and bye for now.